Hi everyone, Paul here from Autism Explained. Today's question is a quick three-part question. What is a meltdown? How are meltdowns and tantrums different? And what to do when they occur. So the best way I found of describing a meltdown is to think of the word overload. Overloaded, overwhelmed, not coping, in great distress. I'm trying really hard to deal with everything around me, but my situation is overwhelming and I'm not coping. So the reason that conceptualizing a meltdown in that way is helpful is because it can avoid common traps of things that don't help. For example, if a meltdown is caused by me trying too hard to do something and running out of energy and losing everything, then asking me to try harder is going to not be very helpful. Similarly, if a meltdown is caused by being overwhelmed by too much information and too much stimulus, then telling me more about things and explaining things and trying to talk to me is not going to help me either. So if we look at the difference between a tantrum and a meltdown, they're really only similar in one way, and that is that they're very emotional outbursts. So the reason behind it is completely different. So in a tantrum, for example, it's goal-oriented, it's serving me. I am trying to get what I want by manipulating attention, manipulating the situation so that you will give me what I want, right? I'm negotiating here, I'm being rational, trying to achieve a goal. The opposite of that is having no control over the situation. I'm not trying to control the situation. I couldn't care less what kind of attention I'm getting. In fact, I'm probably embarrassed by getting too much attention. I'm not rationally trying to achieve any goal. In fact, my whole communication method has broken down completely, and I'm probably resorting to very, very primitive forms of communication, such as, screaming and violence and things like that. And the key characteristic is that the whole experience does not serve me. The whole experience is excruciating and distressful, and I'm not coping, and I want to do anything that I can to get out of the situation. I'm not doing it on purpose to get something. I am out of control, trying desperately to regain control so that I can be okay again. So when you're looking for signs to tell the difference, you can look for extreme distress, you can look for communication ability. Am I actually communicating a need, or am I just communicating I'm not okay, I'm not okay, I'm not okay? And finally, am I aware of my situation? Am I listening? Am I processing information that's happening? Am I responding to your words? Am I taking care of myself? Because if I'm losing awareness of my situation, I'm likely to do things that are not in my best interest. I might accidentally hurt myself, for example. So if that's happening, then I'm clearly not in control of what's going on. So in terms of what to do in that situation, essentially what you're trying to do is de-escalate the situation and create a sense of safety. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that I can't hurt myself or anyone else or anything else, because that is going to be my biggest anxiety in the moment. I'm trying really hard to regain control because I know that I'm going to hurt someone or myself or have some kind of unintended consequences that is going to bite me later. So if you can put me in a safe situation where I know that there are not going to be any negative consequences for me later, all of a sudden I can relax because I don't have to try and regain control straight away. I can just relax and do whatever I need to, scream and shout or whatever, and I know that it's going to be okay. And that allows me to calm down, and once I've calmed down, then I can start using my brain again and processing what happened in the situation. But in the moment, all I'm thinking of is I'm out of control. I need to find a way to get back in control, because if I don't, something bad's going to happen. And you'll also notice that focusing on creating this sense of safety will also address any tantrum-like issues as well. If I'm trying to use my emotional outbursts to get attention and to manipulate the situation, then giving me a timeout is not going to be in my interest because I don't get what I want. However, if I'm having a meltdown due to not coping in this situation, giving me a timeout and saying, you can go to your room or you can sit here and be safe and do what you need to do until you calm down enough to be rational again and come back, and then we'll talk about it some more, then that's a safe thing and a desirable thing in a meltdown situation, and it's not a desirable thing for me if I'm trying to use my emotional outbursts to get what I want. So that's one of the reasons that is such a highly recommended strategy, because it works for both situations and it avoids the need to accurately discern in the moment, is this a meltdown or a tantrum? I can just apply the same situation, the same response to both, which is not actively engaging in any conversation about it. This behavior is inappropriate. You're really upset. I'm going to give you the opportunity to calm down. Anyway, I know this has been a very quick video. We've actually devoted an entire topic to managing anxiety and meltdowns in our Autism 101 course for busy parents. And we've also got a mini course on how to reduce unnecessary anxiety because, as I said before, meltdowns are often caused by overload and reaching a limit and not being able to cope with the situation. So if you can reduce the background stress and background anxiety, then that's going to help a lot in terms of capacity for dealing with situations. So details for both of those are in the video description. I hope you've enjoyed this video and it's been helpful for you, and we'll see you another time. Okay, bye.